A carnival worker hit us with a dad joke. I laughed. My kid groaned. Is this whole story somewhat ironic? This joke has an element of humor to it. Your son didn't get the joke. No fay. You got the joke. You paid the fay. Or, you could have just went to the next ride. That worker has a magnetic personality. Good one. I'm gonna steal it. Did you ask if he accepted legal Tinder? Isn't Iron Man female? That was no carnival worker, it was clearly just a roadie. That is a solid joke. Noise. A middle-aged couple, Frank and Linda, rent out their basement to a college student named Bryce. Why is Frank giving Bryce, a college student, a bath? Am I missing something? LOL. The setup here is something. What are you doing, step landlord? That's quite a poor version of this old joke. Try this one instead. Bryce is just trying to get his foot in the door. Frank decides to give Bryce a bath. Fucking what? Imagine being a college student and your landlord just rolls in, Bryce, I filled the tub for you. Now get in it right now. No question of, does he want to take a bath, or need it? Just sitting around having a think to himself. Fuck it, this seems like a good time to give another adult a bath. I'd be sus if some dude twice my age I just moved in with was drawing a bath for me once a week and asking questions about my dork. The real joke is in the convoluted situation. Bruce Lee had a vegan brother. He had a bear, Grizzly. He had a brother who never told a joke or cracked a smile. Seriously. And his dog, a collie named Flower. And there's also his other brother who worked from home remotely. And there was Ken Carey even made a song about him. His grandma was an English Lee. His hideous brother homely. His other brother always had the right amount of cash when buying stuff. Exactly. He had a cousin who was even faster than him. Suddenly, and a lil sister Lily. I really want to karate chop you for this. What about the other vegan brother Pars? They had a family auto wrecker business named Total Lee. Made me snicker. Have my upvote. Slip sliding away. Musical notes. Know the nearer your destination the more you slip sliding away. Musical notes. See ya. Shame his niece became a porn star, Anna Lee. Really? Had a sister who loved to surf, gnarly. And a brother who was a singer, Rickus Lee. Gay men born by cesarean section may never have come in contact with a vagina. Some straight men too. Crying face. There's some kind of slang for this. Like golden gay or something. As a straight man born by C-section, I also may never come in contact with a vagina. As a platinum gay, I don't intend on doing so. This is actually the only way for gay men to eventually achieve their wizard powers. I'm sure they've met a C, T or 2 though. There's a term, platinum star gay, or just. It depends when you start counting. Because once upon a time a part of that man was sperm, which last I checked has to go somewhere. I can foresee this being continuously reposted here in the future. We call them rainbow star gays. I'm gay, I was born through, I did touch a vagina, ha, I win. Same goes for straight losers. Given that Earth is 70 water, we are lucky that it isn't just a bunch of far apart small islands. Tell that to the One Piece fans. I think many small islands would also have benefits. No inland deserts, easy transport of goods everywhere via water, no single large country dominating a smaller one by sheer manpower and economics. So you're saying we avoided existence as an intercontinental archipelago? Phew, that was a close one. Civilization always finds a way. It would have developed around far apart small islands. Honestly, this sounds kinda lit. If there were equally sized islands instead of countries, there would be 195 islands with a surface area of 293,685 square miles. Approximately the size of Turkey. I have 6 legs, 4 arms and 3 heads. What am I? The child of a Chernobyl survivor. A group of 3 people, one's an amputee. What do you call someone who says this joke is not funny? A liar. Grave robber. Winners at Paralympics. A psychopathic serial killer who collects victim parts. Note, just an attempt to joke. DD. A liberal. A threesome where 2 guys have 1 hand inside you each. A 3-headed insect. A meet cute involving a young executive bumping into a young bohemian taking their emu for a walk. And 2 wings. A flyer. A couple riding an emu. A serial killer. A serial killer before prison. A 2-year who crawls into your bed at 3 a.m. I cannot see. I cannot wave. I'm not a man. And yet I shave. What am I? X200B. A blind cripple woman with a hairy back. If World War III breaks out and you're drafted, what position would suit you? The fetal position. I'm a 62-year-old man. If I'm drafted, we've already lost the war. Casualty. I'd be the dude at the start of the movie who gets brutally blown up to set the tone. Well, I work in cybersecurity, so I would assume that the biggest change would be the source of my paycheck. German here. I'm 48, overweight, untrained desk pilot IT guy, no military experience aside of clicking pixels dead and shoving miniatures around on a grid. A friend of mine, himself being reserve in Bundeswehr, once said if we have to draft guys like you, shit has really hit the fan. And has right. We'd be just cannon fodder or POW. PBH if the World War III will be fought as they imagine, Middle West Europe will be a glowing waste with low to no population to draft at all. Is there a NCO in charge of back in my day? If you had to get rid of one race, which one would you get axe? If there's two things I can't stand, it's people who are intolerant of other cultures, and the Dutch. I'm not a racist, but I think F1 is superior to NASCAR. The annual egg roll. What a waste of good eggs. Greyhound racing. No, but we could drop the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The 5,000 meter race walk. Who the hell wants to watch people walk around a track that many times? Rat race. Easily the biathlon. What kind of warped, twisted mind came up with a race combining cross-country skiing with rifle shooting? Also, I've always felt there's something inherently unholy in which the competitors are chasing each other down while carrying weapons, and they don't use them against each other to narrow down the "it's fucking cold out." SMH 1650 freestyle. I swam that one once and my arms felt like jello after. People who initially dated the person that took your virginity. How did your perception of sex change once you had new partners? Well, my perception of sex didn't change, I just learned new stuff. I realized how fun sex was with her. Lamau, we were together 4 years. The next few partners I had were a slight disappointment because I expected something similar and I had no element of comparison before. I thought the sex we had with my first love was normal and her sex drive was normal. It was pretty damn good sex with good chemistry. Turns out this is rare, Lamau. So I learned that, I guess. I eventually found great partners about this particular topic, but way later in my life. I was under the incorrect assumption that everyone did sex the same. This was many years before internet, and even naughty was quite a surprise to find out all the different ways people did it and what you could actually do with your dick. Setting your appliances to run when you're asleep or at work helps make living in a small place more bearable. It also makes burglars think twice about breaking in. I can't believe more people don't do this. Anytime I go on a weekend trip, I make sure to set my microwave to run for at least 72 hours so burglars won't rob me in fear of the radiation reorganizing their DNA. It makes think twice about breaking in. Leaving the TV on is an easy to implement deterrent. Appliances would be a much less practical solution from an energy cost standpoint. Not to mention a fire flooding hazard. You find me a burglar that says, "Oh shit, the dishwasher is running, let's skip this house." Don't let a dishwasher or washing machine run while you're at work away. You would not be the first to come home and find his home flooded because of a malfunction. Bruh, if someone realizes your dishwasher is running, they already broke in. Till Coco Chanel tried to screw over her Jewish co-founders, brothers Pierre-Paul, during Nazi occupation of France and tried to seize their stake. The brothers anticipated this, transferred their shares beforehand to a Christian friend, who later gave it back to them after the war. She was a huge piece of shit. Yeah, Chanel was a raving anti-Semite even by the standards of the time. She spied for the Nazis, too. She was also a huge Nazi supporter spy. She would have been executed after the war, except she blackmailed Churchill to intervene, or she would out all of the royals' higher-ups she knew were Nazi supporters. Don't ask what Hugo Boss was up to during the 1930s. Till JFK's father Joseph Kennedy made much of his fortune through insider trading. FDR later made him chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission. When asked why he appointed a crook, FDR replied, "Set a thief to catch a thief." Kennedy proceeded to outlaw the practices that made him rich. Seems like his family is doing alright. Billions in family wealth and generations entrenched in politics. Hey, it wasn't illegal? Why wasn't everyone else just doing it? Go on over to the stock store and be like, you got any of them inside? I understand insider trading isn't something everyone can do. This is the joke. Between this and bootlegging, he made a pretty penny. He was a straight up scumbag. In all areas of life. So he's a grifting, two-faced con artist and a coward who did nothing but fall upwards in his life. Really sad to see that the likes of him still do well, nay, thrive in American society to this day. Till that James Poppin performed lobotomy on Eva Perón without her consent to help manage pain from cervical cancer. At one Perón's request, Poppin tested the procedure on Argentinian prisoners to show its effectiveness. After the surgery, she stopped eating and died in 1952. That song must have been cut from the musical because I don't remember that. A nice pick to the brain doesn't cure cancer? I'm shocked. Lobotomies are some scary horror shit, man. Lobotomies have got to have been some of the worst consequences of the Dunning-Kruger effect. Guys, don't worry, we know how the brain works now. See that chunk right there? Entirely dedicated to moving your toes, and that little section over there has the sole purpose of giving you headaches, and it does nothing else. So you know what that means. Get me my scalpel that's meant for making large incisions on the body. Till that prisoners in Japan who are sentenced to death only find out on the morning of their execution. The prisoner's family and legal representatives, and also the general public, are informed only after the execution has taken place. They find out when they're going to be executed on the morning of their find out if they've been sentenced to death at their trial. Same system as it used to be in France. The convict learned that the clemency appeal had been rejected right when they came to fetch them in his cell, about 30 minutes or so before getting their heads chopped off. Wake up, time to die. They also can be executed if they have a pending appeal. Similar to the Dread Pirate Roberts. Good night, I'll most likely kill you in the morning. Till bleach has a shelf life with the effectiveness decreasing after just 6 months and eventually degrades into salt water. Degrades a lot faster if exposed to sunlight too as the UV breaks it down. My mom passed away 5 years ago and I emptied all the cleaners, most were with bleach out from under her kitchen sink, and have been using them over the last few years. I tried using up a couple of the last remaining bottles recently, but it was not working well at all. I also noticed the normally strong scent of bleach was not there. I googled and read that, so I bought some new cleaner and it worked like a charm. Also interesting. Bleach is more effective at killing germs when diluted than when used straight out of the bottle. For most uses, a ratio of 9 parts water to 1 part bleach is recommended. I've had the jug of bleach in my laundry for longer than a year, I'm sure. Must check this out. Till during Young Thug's 2022 RICO trial, a juror had to write a 30-page essay on the importance of jury duty as punishment for visiting the DR instead of showing up. That would suck, knowing that you can be given homework again as an adult. It does kinda suck if you book a vacation and the government gets to just be like, nah. Okay fine. I read the article and she says she contacted jury services and sent them an email of her travel itinerary before leaving on her business trip. Every move I made was to not be negligent of the jury summons, Juror 64 told the judge. What's the DR? I want to scan their essay for a minute or 5. So you want me to write jury nullification for 30 pages? Not to incriminate myself, but I just didn't respond. Go to my jury duty years ago. Eyes. I feel bad, but I was just in a bad spot and had other things to do. Wonder why I never got jail time, lol. Till in 1986, an astronomer traced a 75-cent discrepancy in computer time for 10 months. Eventually, the astronomer discovered a German hacker selling defense secrets to the KGB. This part made me lol. All you have to do to make military gobbledygook is to use academic gobbledygook and change the job titles undergraduate to lieutenant, professor to colonel, and dean to general, he explains. Then throw in words like parameters and implement. Who can tell the difference? I sure didn't, and the KGB even less so. Stoll also testified before the Senate and had lunch with the head of the super-secret NSA. He started asking me questions about internet security and then noticed the yo-yo I had brought with me, says Stoll. He grabbed it out of my hand and did around the world, almost bashing his secretary on the head. We spent the rest of the lunch doing yo-yo tricks together. Till in 2009, 3 masked burglars broke into Dolph Lundgren's home, tied up and threatened his wife, but fled after finding a family photo and realizing whose home they'd broken into. After the incident, Lundgren's elder daughter, Ida, suffered from PTSD. His wife was the most traumatized, and they divorced in terrible. Reminds me of the time 2 robbers tried to rob Chuck Norris because they thought his martial arts stuff was just movie BS. He broke both of their arms before the police could arrive, lol. I would have done the same. Wouldn't want to mess with a man who has a master's degree in chemical, is what Dolph is best known for, right? Sucks about his wife being traumatized like that. Article made it seem like the impetus for them divorcing. Till the University of New Hampshire received millions in bequest from the frugal librarian, the late Robert Morin, who served the institution for many years. $1 million from the said funds was utilized to acquire a scoreboard for the freshly constructed football stadium. Donate while you're alive. There's a slightly greater chance they'll put the money to good use. But only slightly. You can absolutely restrict your charitable donations to specific uses. PHNKSFRDHSH, NRD. DIT, I not with H lick DFDBLLND at WS and SB smear hing F is MMRS at SMSTGLN, but TH Lin is JK. They also spent $17,500 on a table for one of the dining halls. The day after his wife disappeared in a kayaking accident. Alaskans are practical folk, by necessity. He was glad she caught crabs. Heard this joke a long time ago by Bird and I. It was Maine and lobsters then. I'm not sure I get this. Did her dead body become a fish crab bait? That's just like her. She was like a dead fish between the sheets too. This joke is crab. Now I feel I have to post on our confessions I laughed at that joke. What a terrible horrible joke. Bwahahaha. Australians voted that their favorite joke a decade ago. Best joke I've heard all day. Smiley face, that was funny. I'm sorry to say that I love insensitive jokes, but I do. Take my upvote. What a delightful little joke with an ironic surprise. I can't think of when it'd be appropriate to tell though. Okay, that one really made me laugh. That was unexpected and brilliant. What is a drug substance you'll never do again and why? Meth. Did it one time at a party and I completely understand how people get hooked. Everyone sees the end result, but doesn't realize people start doing it because it makes you feel amazing. Never again. Meth. I just didn't like being high for that long and not being able to sleep. Then feeling like ass for 2 days. Nutmeg. Ordinary spice-style nutmeg very much gets you high if you take like 3 tablespoons. The high is similar to weed but not quite as psychedelic or euphoric. The main reason I would never do it again is it lasts like 30 hours and makes you tired as hell. I took it on a Friday when I was teen and basically spent most of the weekend sleeping, waking up every few hours for like an hour of groggy activity. What's a secret that could tear your entire family apart? Uncle molested like everyone. I mean, he's in prison now, so I guess it already did that. The real secret is that everyone on the family swept it under the rug and protected him while the kids were getting raped, and then when this uncle was in the hot seat with the law, the family excommunicated the only person brave enough to come forward, the guy's own daughter. I look like a mixture of my uncle by marriage and my mother. I don't have a genetic condition my sister does, even though I definitely should. When I brought this up to my mother, she avoided the question. What's a seemingly innocent question that can reveal a lot about a person? How's your family? Should have used the serious tag. Do you put the shopping cart back? When you're done lifting, do you put the weights back in the gym? Thoughts on Skylar from Breaking Bad? I wonder if these would be good online dating prompts. If you were a monster truck driver, what would you name your monster truck? People tend to make the name reflect themselves. You can find out a lot about somebody by their monster truck name. What are the last 3 books that you've read? Are you or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party? Where do babies come from? Do you piss in the shower? What is love? What's the gnarliest thing to happen to you during sex? I was in the middle of nowhere in West Texas getting a blowjob outside from a chick I barely knew, but turns out I was laying almost on top of a fire ant bed. But I didn't want to risk the blowjob, so I took those stings as long as I could, trying to make it to the end. The ants won. We left and I was in agony for quite a while. A girl I was seeing was giving me head as I lay in my bed. We were both pretty drunk on red wine. She says I want to try and deep throat this thing. She immediately gags herself and pukes up an entire bottle of red wine all over me in my bed. A girl was riding me too hard. My dick slipped out and bent in half on her ass. Very painful and would not recommend it. Her new kitten had a panic attack and jumped on me and clawed the hell out of my ass. I broke my dick. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it healed. Yes, I have PTSD. She pooped.